Welcome back, everybody, everywhere. We are back on the Double Tech Podcast, the only show where we talk about sports. The only show we talk about sports. Folks, this is kind of an off topic episode for us today. Usually you're used to myself, Ethan Rycenga, and Trent Bally, but Trent had to call an audible today at the line. Had some technical difficulties at home. So we got ourselves an up and coming sports artist, the one and only Bradley Daszkiewicz. Brad, introduce yourself to the faithful, man.
How's it going, everybody? I'm happy to get the opportunity, finally getting off the bench. So I'm gonna do everything I can do to put up some stats on this. I got the call, came up from the practice squad, and I'm ready to go. I have enough knowledge on the topic, so I've got some hot takes for you guys, got some picks for you guys. So I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So a little background. Me and Brad have been friends for a few years now. We went to college together back at freshman year, took a 1-year hiatus, couldn't stand each other, then met back up junior year in Arizona, lived together, spent a couple of years arguing about the Lions and the Bears. And now we're here, still best friends, and we are up and coming, and we are here to talk about some sports. So, Brad, what do you say we get started here?
Let's get started with my favorite sport in the world, American football. I'm ecstatic to get this opportunity.
Yeah. So obviously, let's take the chicken out of the kettle here. But we're going to talk about the very first game, the Ravens and the Texans. The Ravens took this game 34-10. Last week, me and Trent kind of predicted that like this game was going to be a little close in the beginning, and it ended up being that way. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot closer. Ravens pulled away in the second half. I think what this game came down to was some second half adjustments made by John Harbaugh, and Lamar just absolutely proving why he's an MVP candidate. But Brad, what do you think about this one, man?
Yeah, I think you guys probably hit the nail on the head with that one. The first half, I was rooting for CJ Stroud and the boys, but the first half, I was like, they got this. Like, they figured it out. Like, yeah, they've been held down a little bit. That Ravens defense was getting 3-and-outs like it was nobody's business. And then, like you said, in the second half, they made some adjustments, and Lamar Jackson absolutely took over. So,
There was a piece of me though. There was a piece of me that wanted to see CJ Stroud like come back and win that game so
oh yeah,
bad. Like, is
no,
he not
yeah,
just like one of the most likable rookies? Like,
yeah.
I think he's such a likable guy. He's so like straightforward, so nice, so honest. Hey, he's an Ohio State guy, so like putting all that to the side.
Whoa.
But CJ Stroud, man, great guy. Is he a lock to win Rookie of the Year? Offensive?
I think easily. I don't think there's anyone else that's there. I mean, I personally had a wager down on Bijan Robinson. Of course, that was
Oh
kind of
yeah.
that was chalky, and Arthur Smith made sure that I lost every dime of that bet. But
Yeah, I think
that's
that's more on the Falcons than it is on you. I
uh,
think that was the obvious play.
it's water under the bridge at this point. CJ Stroud is most likely a generational talent. So, as a Bears fan, I can just sit here and think that, we got the wrong guy. We
Mm,
got the wrong guy, and that's fine. We got our opportunity now to do it all over again. But like you said, he is extremely likable. Like I wanted him to win that game so bad, and I like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, but he is just like you said, just a super likable, nice, like down to earth kind of guy.
exactly. And folks, a little background here. Brad is from Chicago, Illinois, not like the city. But he's from the area, and he's grew up Bears fan, Bulls fan. So he's a big Chicago sports guy. So if you hear him make some references to the Bears or to any of those teams, that's where he's coming from. And Brad, I kind of honestly wanted to take a tangent here now that we're talking about the Bears.
Mhm.
What do you think they're going to do with that first pick?
Uh, Let me throw a disclaimer out there because you just made a very bold statement. I am a Bears fan, but I'm more of an NFL fan. So,
Okay.
like, I like the Bears. Obviously, I root for them. But, when they inevitably go, 3-13 again next year, like, I'm not going to be that upset because I know that's just in their DNA. They're built for that. A generational talent at 3-13, if you will. But
It's a very media
Anyways,
answer, Brad. It's a very media trained answer.
anyways.
I like the Bears, but I'm more of an NFL fan.
No, seriously, like I just want to see
But
good
as soon as they
games.
make the playoffs, you're like, oh, what? Yeah, I'm a Bears fan now. I said it from the beginning.
Look, the only time I'm not watching Red Zone is if the Bears are playing the Packers, or if it's like, Chiefs, Bills, or, like the Ravens San Francisco game. Obviously, that was Sunday Night Football this year. But, anyways, I think they need to get rid of Justin Fields, unfortunately. I
Oh,
I really like him, and I think every Bears fan is in the same boat. They want it to work out, but like it just isn't gonna work out, Like
wow.
CJ Stroud, he just hopped into this situation and he's already like people are like, "Oh my gosh, he's the next Peyton Manning." But like Lamar Jackson didn't have, supporting cast, still won MVP in 2019, still went to the playoffs, still was balling when he was throwing to UPS workers. So, you know, everyone's saying Justin Fields needs people to throw to. He's got someone to throw to now. And I get DJ Moore had a great year. His offensive line is way better than it gets credit for. Like our tackles are really good, and we're really just missing like a center and a left guard, to be honest. And I get that's 2/5, but still, if you're a good quarterback, you don't need everything to be perfect. You just need, a couple things to go right, and then you're gonna ball out. Like CJ Stroud, like no offense to anyone on that team, on the Texans, but those guys are good because of CJ Stroud. Nico Collins, no one knew who he was till CJ Stroud pointed him out of the crowd. And if Tank Dell had went to, San Francisco or whatever, like he would be the Ray McLeod of that team because, he's got Brock Purdy throwing to him. And I just put a lot of hot takes out there, but that's just my opinion.
You're making some egregious claims right now for the Tank Dell family.
Yeah.
Which is myself. I'm a big Tank Dell guy. Had him on my fantasy team. This trophy right here, that's just so happens to obnoxiously be in my camera shot here, folks. If you're listening and not watching, we do have a YouTube channel, and if you're on the YouTube channel, you would see my fantasy football trophy, and it's in all its glory, sitting right next to me here. So I don't know how that got there, but it made its way. But Brad, I mean, I thought your takes were pretty reasonable. I don't know if I agree necessarily with like the fact that Nico Collins and like Tank Dell were like nobodies. I think
I'm
obviously they
not
had but like if you look at it, man, like who did they have? I mean, they had this like who did they have at quarterback before CJ Stroud? You know what I'm saying? Like if they,
Davis Mills doesn't get the credit he deserves for winning that game
mm,
and getting Bears the first overall pick last year.
hey, go Davis Mills, I guess.
Also,
Um,
just disclaimer if you're on the YouTube, I'm drinking Celsius. This is not like a seltzer or something. It's just Celsius. It looks like it's a White Claw or something. I don't know.
yeah, sponsor us,
Sorry.
Celsius. We're avid energy drinkers, so we'll take all the love that we can get. Celsius, live quick, live fast, drink Celsius. It ain't Fahrenheit, it's Celsius. Come on. Let's keep moving here. The night game from last Saturday, Bradley, Packers at 49ers. There was a lot of debate about this game. And I'm gonna let you go ahead and open up the can of beans here because I think I got a lot to say too, but I want to give you a chance to get the mud out of the water first.
Yeah. So I watched this game very intently with a few buddies of mine that are Packers fans. Worst kind of person to be from Chicago and be a Packers fan. Like
Oh,
that's lower. That's lower than low.
that's
But
low.
anyways, I thought that the Packers should have won this game. I thought that, Brock didn't look all that great, to be quite honest. He didn't look terrible, but he did not look good. And he was taking a while to get that ball out. And, the announcers are always trying to back up Brock. They're always like, oh, look at how wet it is. Look how, he's drying his
Yeah.
fingers off, mid snap or whatever. And it's like, hey, Jordan Love is dealing with the same thing. And this kind of will lead into one of our later segments that I've got in the chamber. Anyways, I thought Brock didn't look good. I thought the Packers should have won that game. The secondary wasn't great, but they had the opportunity to close it out, and Jordan Love had the opportunity to lead his team down the field and send it to OT. But he threw one of the most egregious picks I've ever seen in my life. But hey, Cancun is calling. That's all I'm saying.
Gosh. Yeah, there's a lot that I agree in there. I think you hit the nail on the coffin with Brock Purdy. Me and Trent kind of called this last week. We brought up the regular season games that were at the end of the year when he played, like specifically when he played the Ravens, and we just see time and time again Brock Purdy, no pun intended, fumbling on the big stage. And I think that was the massive story there was Brock just struggled the whole entire game. And when he needed it the most, though, you got to give him his credit. When he needed it the most, he drove the ball down the field. It was a good drive, drove the ball down the field, and got like his team ahead. So obviously got to give respect there, but we're not going to look past the fact that this guy is definitely in some hot water right now. And that's the 49ers side. Everyone expected the 49ers to win, so I don't want to like toot their horn too much. But like I want to talk about the Packers here because this team, and Brad also being from the NFC North, Lions fan, Bears fan here, we got to be a little nervous about this Jordan Love guy. I mean, this guy's making unbelievable throws. Like looking very similar to Aaron Rodgers. Retro Aaron Rodgers, like throws off the back foot, like his little jump throw, like the two-step. They got a young team. They were not even supposed to be near the divisional round.
Yeah.
And they almost won. And like, I'm sure it would have been competitive with them the whole way through. So I think we got to shed a little light on the Packers here and talk about their future, because I think this team's going to be dangerous coming up, if you're asking me.
I mean, all I'm asking is, where do they find these guys?
I mean, it's the system. It's the system. They get these guys and they sit them. Yeah, they sit them behind like the Hall of Famer for a couple of years. And like, remember, I think it was like it wasn't last year, 2 years ago. Jordan Love played for like 2 games, and like everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's a bust. Like this guy sucks."
Yeah.
And then like they kept him, sat him a whole nother year, and then now he's like incarnate Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, all right, this is gonna be a thing, and it's a thing.
Look, I mean, the tape is still out in my camp. Like, I'm not a full believer. I think he's good, but I'm just not sure yet. I'm just not really sure. But what I am sure of is that the Packers have the greatest wide receiver development group in the entire NFL, because they just draft guys from like, teams that are out of the Power 5, and they always hit. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs. Like, how do they find these guys? And they're better than pretty much every wide receiver the Bears have had in like the past 4 years, besides DJ Moore.
I don't know if I'm sold on Christian Watson, though. I feel like I haven't seen this guy do much. And Jaden Reed is from Michigan State, isn't he? Or is that Wicks?
I don't know. But
Wicks is good too, though, wherever he's from.
Melton? Where do these guys come from?
Bo Melton, dude. When he caught that touchdown, I was like, who is this? Who is this guy?
He's been going off. But, I mean, even if they are in the Power 5, like, they're getting guys that are like 3rd, 5th rounders to just get 100-yard receiving games like it's nothing,
Yeah, and hey, shout out Tucker Kraft, bro.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave, like,
yeah, the tight ends, bro. You can't count them out. They don't miss. I will give you that. They don't miss.
I don't understand it. But good for them, I guess. I mean, you can't be mad at this point. Like, that's just good drafting,
right?
You draft 100%. The same players to the Bears, and our development is trash, so they end up looking like Darnell Mooney for their entire career.
Yeah, spoken like a true Bears fan there. So, I mean, moral of the story, not too much to say about this game besides the fact that the 49ers look a little shaky. Packers have a bright future, and Brock Purdy low-key struggling in the limelight. But
Let me ask you this. We didn't really talk about the 49ers defense. What did you think of them?
I don't know, dude. I think everyone was coming here talking about how they were like, the best in the league and they were going to shut down everybody in the NFC. And I don't want to say they got exposed. I don't know if they got exposed or Jordan Love is just him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if they just like had an off day and like you can sit here and talk about the rain all you want, but like they gave up 21 to the Packers who
Hmm.
had no business being there.
Yep.
I don't want to talk enough about it that because it's going to lead me into this week because I'm going to have some stuff to say about like the Lions, but I can say that the defense looked a little shoddy, and I think this week is going to be another test for them. I think it's going to be an even harder test for them. Two high octane offenses coming at each other. I would be a little worried. I would be a little worried if I was the 49ers defense, but I'm not going to speak too much about it. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx anything that's going to happen. But what do you think about the 49ers defense?
Again, I think they looked shaky. I thought, with when they got Chase Young for that second round pick, everyone was saying that they were going to be, a
Yeah.
generational defense. And they've looked good. Like, don't get me wrong, they've looked great. But Jordan Love picked them apart. Like, I'm talking college open receivers with no one around them kind of
And
thing.
didn't they not even have a sack in that game? Like, didn't they have 0 sacks?
Um, I don't
I mean,
want
you
to.
got
I don't want to
Bosa,
put.
Chase Young, and Hargraves, and you got like
Yeah.
0 sacks. And like, those are the three best. Yeah, there's not another better defensive line in the league than those three, at least pass rushing,
I mean, the
you know?
Eagles. The Eagles should have been, but the Eagles,
Yeah, Eagles are frauds,
they couldn't
fraudulent.
rush a sorority right now. So
Gee, the Eagles are fraudulent, man. We don't need to talk
yeah,
about that bum team.
for sure. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the Sunday games here. The Lions defending the den of Ford Field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As a Lions fan, this game had me pretty nervous. I'm not even going to lie to you. Nervous not because I was necessarily afraid of the Buccaneers, but nervous because as a Lions fan, just for years, I've seen this team hiccup, lose by the refs, lose by just like being in their own head, getting in their own way. Lo and behold, this team came through. And I don't know, man. I think they're the truth. Say what you want about the matchup. Say what you want about, Baker Mayfield throwing 2 picks in crucial time. But when the Lions needed to score, they scored. And when they needed to play defense, they played defense. And that's something that as a Lions fan, I haven't seen in my entire life. When they need to step up and actually do something, they did. And I can't say that I've been like a witness to that in my entire life. So that's what I have to say. The Lions, at the end of the day, they got the job done. Won by 8 points. They covered, but now they get to move on and play in the NFC Championship. And if you're a Lions fan with me, this is dream scenario. This is absolute dream scenario. And I was going absolutely nuts after the game, along with all of my Detroit following friends. And I'm excited, man. I thought it was a hard fought win. Dan Campbell has these boys absolutely on a never ending motor right now. I'm a little worried about the offensive line. There's only one guy that's out, like officially. Jonah Jackson is ruled out, I believe. But like Frank Ragnow, our starting center, was like starting on a broken ankle and like a knee injury. They were just being dogs. That's all I gotta say. And shout out Baker Mayfield. Okay, can't let that be unsaid. Baker Mayfield impressed me, and I think Tampa Bay is definitely going to offer him the bag this offseason because he put up numbers. You can't deny that. He put up numbers. He put up career numbers. He hasn't done this well his entirety of the NFL, the entirety of his years in the NFL. So good for him. Again, Tampa Bay, another team that had no business being in the divisional round, yet there they were. So can't give Lions all the flowers, but this next week's matchup is going to be the one that we're talking about. So good win
Mhm.
for the Lions. Looking forward to tomorrow. It would be. We're filming on Saturday, so tomorrow.
Mhm. As a Baker Mayfield fan, I'm willing to say I'm a fan, and I was rooting for Baker. I know you got a soft spot in your heart for Baker as well,
Love Baker.
but he's playing your team, so I get it. I thought he obviously wasn't great, but you can't take away what he did with a brand new team, a brand new system. And let's not get it twisted. That Tampa Bay defense is the truth. Like they're the
Hmm.
real deal. If they keep everyone and their rookies keep balling like they're balling, they're going to be really good next year. Whether Baker Mayfield is going to be the leader of the troops, I don't really know. You said he was going to get the bag. I don't know about all that. But he might get he might get some Derek Carr money, and I guess that is the bag because Derek Carr got 70 million, but
Yeah, there's no reason he should have got that money.
he ain't fit to push a broom. But let's
Hey,
not
real
hate.
quick though, you want to know a stat that I saw because you were talking about the defense? I saw a stat during the game that Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis had like one defensive pass interference call on between both of them the entire season.
Really,
Like between the two of them, there was only one DPI or something like that.
that's an
And I was
underrated
like,
stat.
I know. That's what I was saying. I was like, whoa. Like between two corners, like I think, and it was the best in the league.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
definitely an insanely good defense.
Yeah,
Not enough for the Lions, though. That's all I'm saying.
I mean the Lions should have won by more than 8. That last touchdown they scored, that shouldn't happen. Let's keep it a buck. Like that was you guys should have defended that, and you never should have let that last touchdown score. And
Dude, did you see some of the throws that Baker Mayfield was making though?
I mean, he's him. Let's not.
That touch or that 40-yard pass or whatever to Mike Evans was insane.
Okay,
I thought that was correct.
you got a generational receiver though. Like he's like 6'6". So, um, but I thought the Lions played great. I thought they were really good. Could have been better on defense. You obviously don't want to let
Yeah,
up some of those points, but
right.
it's fine. Um, Let me ask you this, Ethan. If you were Kyle Shanahan, would you
Okay.
rather have Brock Purdy or Baker Mayfield?
Baker.
Really?
Dude,
Why?
I said this on the I'm a huge Baker guy, first of all. I said this on the podcast last week, but if I'm a team that's like in the playoffs, selling out stadiums, there's a little amount of quarterbacks I would rather have than Baker Mayfield leading the charge.
What?
That guy, dude, listen, that guy knows how to get a stadium popping. All right.
Yeah.
That guy will tuck the ball, lower his shoulder, and like flex on whoever he just ran over, and the stadium will go nuts, bro. Like he has like that. Okay, this is gonna be an outrageous comparison. So like take it with a grain of salt. He's got that Curry effect, bro, where he can like take over a game. He can take over a game at will. He makes a couple throws. He runs for 12 yards. He does his little first down thing. The momentum can switch entirely. If you give Baker an inch of like pride to stand on, like
Hmm.
the entire momentum can switch. So if I'm the 49ers with the team that I have and like because I think if you're in the 49ers position, you cannot like bow your heads like they did last week to the Green Bay Packers. Like
Yeah.
I think they got embarrassed in a way last week. Like they are
Rusty.
supposed to be this team, you know? So like
Yeah.
I would want like a Baker Mayfield kind of guy who like knows who they are and they know what they stand for and
Hmm.
they know they're the best, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
That's
I
just
don't
me
know.
though.
I don't know like what your Twitter presence looks like, but a lot of people were not sending, but like tweeting the videos of Brock Purdy walking into the stadium, and they were like, name a more swaggerless QB, just because of the way that Brock like dresses and stuff. And it's whatever, like you can dress however you want. So I didn't think anything of it. But
Yeah.
like Baker Mayfield might be the king of swag as far as quarterbacks go in the NFL, because Mahomes is kind of cheesy. Josh Allen is like, whatever, my talk on the field is going to make up for it.
Right.
But Baker's swag is an aura, and like you're saying, like he can take over a stadium just with how he like operates an offense and how
Right.
like when he trucked that dude this year, and then he was like, "Weight room, little boy," like that was the funniest thing.
That's what I'm saying though. Like that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy you want on your team when you're like winning. You want that guy that's going to get in everybody's head. And he's like so widely hated by the opposing team. You know,
Oh
like
yeah.
everyone's like
Oh
hit
yeah.
him, like, but like that's kind of what fuels him. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good question. I would obviously take Baker though. I'm a big Baker guy.
I think Baker's a better player, anyways. So
Yeah.
people are Brock Purdy stands are gonna hate me. They're like, "Who is this guy?"
I hope there's no Brock Purdy stands on here. That'd be awkward. Moving into the last game, quite possibly the best game out of all of them, with the highest stakes, unfortunate loss for the Buffalo Bills to weirdly my hometown, Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I know it sounds weird to say. It sounds weird to say. This is like the team here. Everyone's a Chiefs fan. Like it's weird. Kansas City Chiefs continue to shut down the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills cannot get the monkey off the back. They lose again in the divisional round. Sad day for Buffalo. Extremely great day for the Kansas City Chiefs. Brad, did you watch this one? What did you think?
I watched this one with a microscope.
Oh, with a microscope.
I mean, do you ever get this feeling like when a kicker is stepping up to take the kick?
Yeah,
you
I
can
know what you're
already
gonna say.
tell. You can already tell if they're gonna miss or hit it.
Yep, absolutely.
So like when Anders Carlson took that kick for the Packers against the 49ers and he missed, I called that one. Like there's just certain kickers that I can just see by their body language walking up. I'm like,
you're like, he's not ready.
Sorry, they're getting it. They're getting it at the 35. Sorry to tell you, but anyways, I called it on the Tyler Bass kick as well. As soon as I saw how he was walking up, I was like, damn, this Buffalo is about to be heartbroken. And I am wearing a Josh Allen jersey. Like this was my trophy for our other fantasy football league that we're in. So shout out any of you guys if you're listening. Double champ here. Just got to mention that.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, so I was watching him step up and I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to miss. And Tyler Bass has been shoddy all year, like on the big kicks, No,
dude, he's one of the most clutch kickers of all time, dude, in the playoffs.
I don't know about that.
I thought he was like 5 for 5 in like under 2 minutes.
This year he's been mid. I know that for sure. Because I had him on my fantasy team and I was like, this dude is missing kicks left and right. And as soon as I saw him walking up there, and I wish I remembered what the announcer said, but he said something along the lines of like, Tyler Bass, just one of the greatest kickers in the NFL right now. And then he kicks the ball
too much.
And he just goes, oh my gosh, it's wide right. And I mean, the boogeyman does it again. He gets another win in the playoffs, and he's going to the AFC Championship 6 years as a starter. It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we're filming this podcast a week after the game because I was fairly heated after that game had ended. I definitely wanted to see the Chiefs lose. And Brad, you actually firsthand heard my rant. Right out the gate.
I did, yeah.
I came firing right away at Josh Allen just for the way that he handled the last drive of the game. Upon further reflection. So for those of you that obviously haven't heard my rant, I was so mad because those last 2 plays before the 4th down kick that they missed, he missed like 2 open receivers like to gain some more yards. And I was upset because I was like, why does he feel like he needs to end the game on a touchdown instead of just getting his team in a better position to advance the ball, to score, to tie it up possibly? Why does he feel like he needs to take matters into his own hands? Now, that was my initial take. Upon further reflection, yes, that remains true, I think, but he did what he needed to do in that game. He didn't turn the ball over. And our big segment last week was on how Josh Allen's like second out of all quarterbacks in interceptions, has one of the worst pass attempt to interception ratio. And he didn't throw a pick. He didn't fumble. He ran for 2 touchdowns, threw a good ball, and
He's
a
him.
lot of but there was a lot of other things that just went wrong in that game. Like the defense failed to stop the run. I think Pacheco was kind of having his way.
They had the most banged up defense in the NFL.
Yeah, it was rough. It was
Dude,
rough. And
did you hear them throughout the broadcast? And they're like, "Oh gosh, another linebacker just got injured. They only have 3 left on the entire team."
that's
And it's
bizarre.
like, yeah, so it's like they got third string linebackers in there. Secondary was not great. I mean, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are the most overrated safety duo in the entire league.
Mm.
And Von Miller, he got $20 million this year to get. I don't even think he had 1 sack, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City owns them, just like the Packers own the Bears. Sorry,
Yep.
Brad. That was
No,
a cheap shot. It was a cheap shot.
No one's mad about that one.
But sorry, Bills fans, you got to wait another year. Me and Trent had claimed that this was the year that the Bills needed to do it. If they were going to do it any year, it had to have been last week.
Terrible take.
The Chiefs haven't looked good all year. This is the first year where the Chiefs kind of look bad. So they had that going in. It was the first road game for Patrick Mahomes in his whole career. Like, this was the year to get it done.
Nagy effect. That's the Matt Nagy effect right there.
Yeah, apparently. So now we got the Chiefs on the road against the Ravens. And we'll kind of move into that right now. Brad, you want to give our little our picks for next week? What do you think? Let's start with the Lions and 49ers. 49ers currently favored 7.5 points. Lions traveling to San Francisco. Is this the early game or the night game?
Night game.
This is the night. This is the night game. Okay, yeah. I mean, what do you think has to happen here, and who do you got in this one?
So if the Lions are going to win this game, they have to play, obviously, number 1 run defense in the NFL right here. Shout out to Dan Campbell. Shout out the boys in the trenches. They've been holding it down. No one's running on the Lions. Rashad White looked like a ghost out there. But they're going up against the Great White Hope. And they're going up against the best running team in the NFL. So we have a immovable object versus an unstoppable force. And so they need to be immovable. They have to stop the run. They have to stop the stupid screen passes that they love to do and, give Christian McCaffrey 70 yards receiving when all Brock Purdy did was throw it, 2 yards behind him. Anyways, they have to stop the run. Deebo Samuel is playing. He was hurt. They have to stop they have to stop him as well because he's going to run the ball a little bit. They're going to get shifty. They're going to try that jet sweep all the time. So they have to stop the run, and they have to make Brock Purdy spin the rock. And that's how they're going to get their wins because that secondary is good. It's not, the best in the playoffs. It's not the best in the playoffs right now, but they need to make Brock Purdy spin the rock, and they need to get some picks. If they win the turnover battle, I think they can win this game. They're like 7-point underdogs, and I think that's a little bit disrespectful. I think the Niners looked mid last week, and I think I would much rather have Jared Goff in that offense. Well, I'd rather have Jared Goff. I don't know about the offense,
Yeah, it's
not as many big names on that offense, but I think it's winnable. If they stop Christian McCaffrey, they can make Brock Purdy spin the rock. Then, they can get some picks because Brock has been hit or miss,
Yeah. I mean, I kind of am right with you on that. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say we need to stop so-and-so and so-and-so because there's like 9 guys that we need to stop on that offense. It's not just unfortunately, it's not as easy as saying stop Christian McCaffrey because they have like 3 other Pro Bowlers on that team. So What I left it at, though, I obviously want to make Brock Purdy throw the ball. That's number one. But number two, I wanted to not only make him throw it, I want to make him throw it to the outside. I think Brock Purdy loves throwing it inside to, Kittle, Ayuk coming on slants or, deep posts. I would love to see the Lions kind of pack the middle and especially make him throw to the long side of the field. I think Brock Purdy's mindset is a state of uncomfortability right now. And I think Kyle Shanahan is going to come out the gate, want to get him in a rhythm early and make throws that Brock is comfortable making, those like short passes, slants. So I think if we can, make him throw difficult throws early, kind of get him off of his rhythm, that would be something that I would want to see. Obviously, we'll see what happens. But yeah, a lot of guys we need to stop. I think it's just going to be a back and forth battle. Give me the Lions. Obviously, I think that speaks for itself as a Lions fan. We're gonna be in our first Super Bowl in the Super Bowl era. Give us that one.
We would love to see that. I don't think, even being a quote unquote fan of a team in the NFC North, like I want to see you guys there, the lovable Lions. Yeah. I think you're America's team right now. So
yeah, not the Cowboys. Not the Cowboys.
Oh, no. God no.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say the script says that the 49ers are gonna win though. So I don't know if you're a conspiracy guy, but
I am.
Last game, Ravens and Chiefs. Brad, I think the Ravens are gonna win pretty handily. But in a segment down the line, I think I have to introduce some sort of mix in there. I think the Ravens should win this. But if we're getting into conspiracies, the script would be more profitable if the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl. If they get Taylor Swift sitting box, I think that gives them a reason to put her on the camera a little bit more. Maybe give her own little segment mid-game. I think fans are gonna tune in a lot more if they see T Swift in the box. Care to speak on the script or just the outcome of this game overall?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if there is a script, Taylor Swift needs to be at the Super Bowl. And let's be honest, Taylor Swift could not care less about the Super Bowl if Travis Kelce ain't playing in it,
Right.
She might make a little cute post on her story or something, but so is every other girl in America that day. So let's talk about the script. I think, the Ravens on paper should be beating the heads in of the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have gotten a lot of lucky breaks. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is personally the least likable NFL player just because of how much he cries to the refs and, the little things that he does, in game on the sideline, walking into the locker room. His antics, like he has this aura about him that is just so annoying. Like I can't even put my finger on it. And so I want to see Lamar Jackson just punish this Chiefs team. Just punish them. Yeah. I'm talking like punish the Bengals in 2019, all these spins and everything, just making them look silly. But that Kansas City defense is the real deal. And so, it'll definitely be a test. I don't think we're going to see like a 17-point win personally.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is still a great player. And that Baltimore defense is different. They are swarming around that ball. They don't let anything happen. And I think this game could be a low scoring bout personally. But, I think
you think it's going to be low scoring?
I do. And I think the Ravens are going to win it, not handedly, not by a lot, but like, they're going to make a statement and it's not really going to be close in game, but the score might be close,
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little different in that way. I think this is actually going to be a high scoring game.
Really?
Total is set at 44.5. The Ravens are currently favored by 4.5 points. I personally think I think the Ravens are going to win, but I think the Chiefs are going to cover, and I think that this is going to be an over game personally.
What
I
makes you say
just
that?
I just see two of the great quarterbacks that we have in the game right now. And I think like Vegas wants us to think this is like going to be a defensive game. Baltimore's got the best defense in the game. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes, some people are saying he's the GOAT right now. And the GOAT's going to make GOAT plays. He's going to score points, whether what defense is out there, he's going to score. He scored against the Bills. Travis Kelce grabbed a couple. But I think the Ravens are going to put up a ton of points too, not just the Chiefs. I think the
Mm,
Ravens have one of the most high octane offenses in all of the NFL. Lamar literally cannot be stopped. So I think this is going to go pretty back and forth. If you want my honest opinion, I think the Ravens win, Chiefs cover.
you're sounding like you got the script. I
I
um
hope so.
I think that this game is kind of weird, right? No one's talking about how we have two juggernaut tight ends on both sides of the ball. Mark Andrews is back in. Isaiah
Oh, he's
likely held
back.
it. Yeah, Isaiah likely held it down while he was gone. Caught a significant amount of touchdowns, but anyways, um, the receivers are not really. This isn't a game of big name receivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rashee Rice and Kadarius Toney is out, which I think is huge for the Ravens. He's worth like 2 points basically for the Ravens because he's going to drop at least 10 balls. But the receivers on the Ravens side, I mean OBJ, like take it or leave it. Zay Flowers has been good, but he's small. He's not like a huge target in the red zone or anything. He's fast, but
Right.
I could see this being a big run the ball kind of game,
Mm.
And the Ravens are much better against the run. I think the Chiefs secondary has been good, very good, but not elite by any means.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, did you have closing things you wanted to say on that?
I'm going with the under personally. I
Okay.
think you said the over, but I'm going to say the under. I think I'm going to take the over 3.5. Mahomes walking up to the ref crying about some call that he didn't get.
Yeah,
And
that's going to be absolute hammer the over on that.
yeah, I'm taking Lamar to score a tutty.
Okay.
So that's my personal picks.
Well, all right. That's all we got for the meat and potatoes. It's pretty heavily NFL. I would be remiss if we did not at least mention a little bit of the NBA. I don't know if the NBA commissioner or whoever runs things over there, I don't know if they heard me last week, but this has been one of the best offensive performances in a week of NBA that we've seen in a long time. We had Joel Embiid scoring 70, Karl Anthony Towns scoring 62, and then a few days later, Devin Booker having 62, and then Luka having 70. So all-star performances all around. We're not going to talk too much about that because nothing extremely notable happened in the NBA outside of that. But let's get into our next segment here, Brad. We're going to move into the throne room in the doghouse. This is the segment where we go back and forth, giving who we believe deserves a spot in the throne room. So somebody who has been favorable this past week. And then we give our picks for somebody that belongs in the doghouse, somebody who's been less favorable over the past
Mm-hmm.
week. So, Brad, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with the throne room pick because we
Yep.
always start with the throne room pick. And I kind of want to stay on brand here. We were just talking about the Ravens. I'm going to give my throne room pick to Lamar Jackson. I think
Good pick.
he absolutely deserves it. He is basically the unanimous MVP at this point, or he will be, in my opinion. This guy has been doing insane things all regular season. And first game in the playoffs, again, insane things, rushes for 100 yards. He is basically showing that the media, the fans, nothing's really getting to him. He's not handled, or he's not sinking under the pressure. And when he got drafted, he vowed that he would bring a Super Bowl to Baltimore, and it's very much looking like it's going to be close to happening this year. So, got to give my flowers to Lamar Jackson. Got to give him the crown. Brad,
Mm-hmm.
where are you at in your throne room pick?
I'm gonna jump back to the NBA. I need to give some flowers to my favorite NBA player, and that would be Luka Doncic. Like you mentioned, he had 73 points, which is absurd. And, there's a lot of debate on whether, he will ever be able to win a championship, an MVP, anything like that. Because, he has personal accolades. He, scores triple doubles when he wants. He gets every point that he wants. He's crazy from the free throw line. I mean, he's a 6'7" point guard, so he pretty much does whatever he wants. But he not great. Like, the record for the Mavs, like winning wise, has been not great since he's been there. Hasn't had a lot of help. I didn't really know why they went and got Kyrie Irving last year. Like,
Yeah, that was a questionable play.
In what way do you need another point guard, But anyways, I think he's in the throne room. I think he deserves some, some players, some help better than Grant Williams. Like, I don't know what the boy Mark Cuban is doing over there, but he's not doing himself any favors. He's got a generational talent on his hands, and he just
Right.
needs the right pieces and the right coach. And, he could be winning championships. So he's in my throne room. I'm hoping that he gets some help. And I just love the way he plays. So I wanted to give him some flowers.
Brad, they used to tell me that I played like Luka Doncic.
Yeah, in fifth grade when you hit your growth spurt before anyone else.
Oh no, I love Luka though. Very, very good player. I think he brings a different skill set to the NBA that we're not really used to seeing. He slows the game down a little bit, which is something I always appreciate. He has some of the best body control out of all the NBA players, similar to Kyrie. Maybe that's why they got him. Two guys that know what to do, and how to use the body to their advantage.
Yeah,
I definitely love that pick though.
Kyrie is just one of the most questionable human beings, not only in the NBA but on Earth. So, not sure that it's really a great fit over there in Dallas, but whatever. Now, Ethan, I saw this on Twitter, and I wanted to ask this to you because someone was posting pictures of Luka and his 73 poster, whatever paper, and people were saying, explain this in NFL terms. How would you explain Luka Doncic scoring 73 points in NFL terms?
Oh man, how would I
I know
explain?
I'm kind of putting
I
you on the
mean,
spot, but
yeah, I would say something along the lines of, because like Luka is a top 5 player in the league. He's not like in GOAT conversations. So I think this would be something like Josh Allen having like 500 passing yards and like
yeah,
4 touchdowns.
yeah,
Because like it's somebody who's like not in GOAT conversation, but like one of the best players in the league still, and then just doing something absolutely outrageous. So
yeah.
that's what I would say.
Doing outrageous things, but when it comes down to getting it done on the scoreboard and, actually getting that W doesn't always happen. So Josh Allen is a great answer.
Yeah, so that's the throne room. Two guys well deserving of their crowns, but now we're going to give a couple individuals / organizations, if you want a teaser, we're going to give them their dog collars because they are headed to the doghouse this week. Brad, do you want to kick us off and then I can finish it up?
I do. I'm going to touch on two things, I think, here. One is the Chicago Bears, and I guess maybe Ryan Poles, the GM. You have 3-4 generational coaches available in free agency in the NFL, and you don't even try to get them. That doesn't really make sense to me. I think
Eberflus is the answer.
Apparently. But, I saw Jim Harbaugh this week. He went to, he's officially going to the LA Chargers.
Good for him.
Good for him, for real. But that broke my heart a little bit. That to see that happen, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So that's my first one is the Bears and their questionable, no Bill Belichick, no Mike Vrabel, no Jim Harbaugh. And then this last guy, he's also in the doghouse. Pete Carroll. Is he like, red flagged by the NFL or something? Or, why is he not like, I don't see anything on Twitter of people being like, oh, Pete Carroll just interviewed with the Falcons. Like, no one's even interviewing him. So he has to be in the doghouse in some way because, why is no one looking at this? He's a great coach. I don't really understand
He
why
is.
no one is
But
looking at
he's
him.
pretty old, man. Maybe he's just taking life a little slower these days.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He might just like not be taking calls and he's like, I'm gonna retire, or I'm gonna go coach my grandson's football team or whatever.
Literally,
But we're
literally,
talking
pull a
about
Sean Payton.
yeah, we're talking about an NCAA champion, a Super Bowl champion. I don't understand why he's not getting any calls. So he has to be in the
Did he win
doghouse.
the Super Bowl?
With the Seahawks?
Yeah, I don't think they won.
Yeah, they did. Are you kidding me? Russell
When?
Wilson? When did they beat the Panthers?
Oh,
Not the Panthers.
no, it
They're
couldn't have
both
been
in
the
the NFC.
Panthers.
Was it the
Did they beat the
Broncos?
Broncos?
I think it was the Broncos.
I just remember, I thought the only time they were in the Super Bowl was when he threw that pick on the 1 yard line.
They should have won 2, but they only won 1. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I didn't know. I that's a kind of Super Bowl era that I'm not like super like knowledgeable on, is like 8 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, he's in the doghouse with somebody, with Roger Goodell. I don't know who he's in the doghouse with, but he's not taking any calls, which is absurd to me.
So, yeah, I can see why you'd put him there. I kind of took a different direction about it. I don't know why people aren't talking about this more. I would love to be one of the first people to bring this to light. But how come nobody is talking about the potential groundbreaking downfall of the Alabama Crimson Tide football team? I think this team their legacy is about over, in my opinion.
Really?
I think since Nick Saban has departed, that's no news to anybody. And no red flags were being raised to me at that point.
You're not obviously a Kalen DeBoer guy?
We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does in the SEC. But all I'm saying is, as soon as Nick Saban leaves, 2 5-star recruit freshmen, Caleb Downs, freshman safety, #1 recruit in his class, and Julian Sayin, isn't that his name? Julian Sayin, the 5-star quarterback, both transfer out. And I think by what I'm seeing is that people were under the assumption that they were going to play for Nick Saban. Now, life comes along. Obviously, Nick Saban, he's done his time. He doesn't need to coach anymore. He's the GOAT of college football coaching.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade.
That's fair.
But now that he's gone, if players aren't getting to the allure to play for Nick Saban, then I think this team is going to start doing worse and worse as the years come down. And I think that the talent is starting to spread a little bit. I think we're seeing a nuance in the college football realm. So to me, Alabama, I mean, it should have been a couple weeks ago, but I want to put Alabama in the doghouse just to get the pot stirring a little bit. I think their loss of recruits is something that's going to eventually come back and sting them. But that's why they are in my doghouse. Any comments on that?
I think you're underestimating Kalen DeBoer.
Maybe
he's the real deal.
Maybe couldn't get it done against Michigan.
I mean, he won like 17 straight or something. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you, but they won an absurd amount of games consecutively, obviously between 2 seasons, but whatever. No, you're right. Michigan handed him a towel and they said, go ahead and throw this. But I think Alabama will be fine. I think they're going to be fine. They're not going to get the allure that they used to when you have the greatest coach of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to be trash. I think they'll still be in the conversation to win the SEC. But if it doesn't go well this first year, though, it's going to be tough.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if they lose to Tennessee and Georgia or something like that, like it's going to be very questionable.
Right. No, I totally agree. So it's definitely going to be something to watch as next year comes along. Maybe that take will come back and bite me in the butt. So hopefully not. I would like to see Alabama hit the brakes for a little bit. We're coming up on an hour here, so I kind of want to get moving through these next segments. We're gonna keep this one pretty quick. Let's go ahead and move to our gambling picks. Always, folks, gamble responsibly. But let's move on to the lockbox. The lockbox is a pick that we have that we think for sure is going to hit. I can start there. I have Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think when push comes to shove, you always want to rely on your best players on the largest of stages. And I think Mahomes is a lock for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think if the Ravens do what they should do and get an early lead, it'll make Mahomes have to throw a little bit more and hopefully throw a little bit more touchdowns. So give me Mahomes over 1.5. What about you, Brad?
Yeah, this is gonna be like I've already shown my hand here, but I bet on this last week and it didn't hit and it should have. So I was very upset. Brock Purdy to throw 1 interception. That's all I want. I
Okay.
know I've said I don't like Brock Purdy. I don't usually hate on a player this much, but there was 2 or 3 times last week where he was throwing the ball and it was hitting Packers DBs in the hands and they were dropping it. And I'm screaming at the TV, like, catch the ball. Like,
Right.
put some honey on the gloves. Like, I don't know what you got to do, but catch the dang ball, right? And sounds like Friday Night Lights over here. But I'm taking it again. I think, if the Lions really are the real deal on the line and they stop the run, he's going to have to throw the ball, whether it's screen passes, down the field slants to Ayuk, those big throws to Kittle, whatever. He's going to have to do that. And I think the Lions DBs are way better schematically and talent-wise than the Packers are. And he is going to throw a pick. It has to happen after last week.
Hey, I'm gonna be rooting for that for you, man. I'm not even wagering on it.
I'm running it back. So, give me Brock Purdy to throw an interception. It's usually like minus 105 or something. So basically
Okay.
pick 'em. But over 0.05 interception.
Word. I like that. Now we're gonna move on to our snake eyes pick. So snake eyes, a pick that usually is plus money. I like to keep mine plus 200 odds or lower. So for my snake eyes pick, I am going to go with a Mark Andrews anytime touchdown at plus 230. I think that the Chiefs have a very good secondary in terms of their cornerbacks and safeties. I think short middle is going to be kind of the area that they're at. And Mark Andrews is coming back for a game. So I think this is one of Lamar's favorite targets. So I think he's going to be looking for him, especially in the red zone. Give me a Mark Andrews anytime touchdown at plus 230.
I like that a lot, and I probably will put some money on that. But it's a little bit of a parlay because I wasn't really sure where to go with this, and I was kind of shopping around last night actually, and I'm looking at the anytime touchdown scores, and I was very surprised to see how far down the line David Montgomery was. I understand that, Jahmyr Gibbs and they split the backfield a little bit, but, when push comes to shove and you're within the 5-yard line, you give it to the guy that's not going to fumble. I think he's a little bit stronger. He's more of a bruiser, run it up the gut kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I want David Montgomery in there. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown was the most likely to score a touchdown in that game. And then it was, besides Christian McCaffrey, and then it was, like Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, and then it was David Montgomery. So give me David. I really like David to score, and I really like Lamar to score as well. I think that the way that Kansas City defense kind of operates is they like to flush guys, but they don't really get a lot of sacks. Like they flush him out and they get him out of the pocket, which Lamar Jackson is probably the best quarterback at getting out of the pocket and getting downfield.
Oh yeah.
So if they get, in the red zone and they're on the 10 or the 5, I like him to run it in. My understanding is that Gus Edwards is injured. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's doubtful
Got
for the
inside
game.
information.
I'm pretty sure he's doubtful for the game. I didn't check today, but he was doubtful yesterday.
That's an
And
interesting development.
so they added Dalvin Cook, so maybe he's going to be taken over, or Justice Hill's going to take over, or whatever.
Yeah.
Less competition. Give me Lamar Jackson and David Montgomery to score a touchdown. I believe it's right around plus 275. So that will be my snake eyes pick.
Love that for you. Both got some anytime touchdowns and some ATDs. Moving on to our next segment. We got 2 more segments here. We got the double tech, where we give a hot take. I know we've given a lot of hot takes already so far. This one can be sports related or non-sports related. I'm going to keep mine non-sports related here. I was going to make mine about the Buffalo Bills, but I think we've harped on them enough. I got a take for you, Brad. I got a double take for you. And I don't necessarily know if this is even hot. This could be just me. This could be how a lot of people feel. But I am out on large supermarkets. Big supermarkets I am out on. I am not a Walmart fan. I am selling Walmart right now. I want that to be said.
Selling Walmart. Gotcha.
I am against big supermarket, that group, because listen, I got a couple reasons. One, it is so easy to get lost in there. So easy. And I get the draw to the big supermarket. It's a place where you can get groceries, clothes, electronics, auto care, all in the same place. It makes sense, right? But I'm not really trying to spend 3 business hours in a Walmart.
Yeah.
If I'm going in there to get groceries, I'm just going to go to a small supermarket or a smaller supermarket. I'm a big Fry's guy, Safeway, Baker's, Hy-Vee, places like that. You know how I feel about, rewards programs. But listen, I go into Walmart and I probably I only buy what I need. So like I buy the groceries that I need for that next week. I go back the next week and get exactly what I need. I am in there for an outrageous amount of time because I cannot find the cranberries. And dude, I like literally walked in circles around 3 different aisles, like literally went like this. And then I finally had to download the Walmart app, search cranberry. Dude, I'm serious. I was so upset. And it was like in an aisle that I'd already been on. And then it was like, I go to the aisle and they're like on the very bottom, like in this little crease. And I'm like, this would have never happened. This would have never happened if I was in a Safeway or a Baker's. So I am out on big supermarket. I'm out.
How do you feel about Meijer then? That's a pretty big supermarket.
I haven't been to Meijer in a long time.
Okay.
So I'm not going to speak on that. Specifically, this rant was about Walmart specifically.
Okay. You're out on Walmart then. Do you have another player in the game that you're also out on? Like, what about Target?
See, I don't hold Target in the same conversation as I hold Walmart, because I think Walmart presents a larger selection of it's like more of a grocery store than Target is. Mm-hmm. And I think Target, I feel like, is more of like a home goods store where like they have like their own kind of like brands of things. I don't know. I hold Walmart in a different respect than Target personally.
Okay. Yeah. Target's a little bit more high end.
Yeah.
Not high end like a Mariano's, but it's high end. I don't hate that. I don't really go to Walmart. The only place I shop consistently is Meijer. And this place by me called Caputo's, but that's like more of a local spot. I mean, Walmart has certain things, though, you just can't get as cheap as you're going to get it at Walmart, just because, quality is probably low, but whatever.
Exactly. No, you're right. And like people, but here's the thing, dude. People claim that the groceries are cheaper, and I just haven't seen that. I haven't seen it. Sometimes I feel like it's more expensive than like a more neighborhood friendly supermarket. So that's all I got to say. Obviously, like I think they have some good deals like in the non-grocery section. So if I'm like looking for like items, I would for sure go to Walmart. But if I'm like getting groceries, I'm not coming within a 2-mile radius of a Walmart. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for my hot take, I'm kind of sort of in the same boat. This wasn't like intentional or anything. But I so my hot take is that I hate Starbucks. And
Oh.
I don't even know if that's a hot take. It's Starbucks is so hit or miss. Like certain people are like, "Oh my gosh, I love it. I go there all the time." And other people are like, "Oh, screw Starbucks. Starbucks sucks, whatever, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Starbucks for me is like the only good thing about it is that I can order online, walk in, grab my drink, and walk out, right? You don't got to mess around with lines. You don't got to mess around with like, people, oh, what you want this? Like, and then they get your order wrong or whatever. I personally am a black coffee drinker, or I'll drink like Americano, which is just espresso and water, and I'll get that iced. Which is usually my order there. But I drink it black, so there's not a lot of things that go into it. So when I do go into Starbucks, which I just did recently because I don't know if do you use their app at all? You're a big
Oh
app
yeah.
guy.
I'm a big
Yeah.
app user. Big
Okay, so
app user.
when you load money on the Starbucks app, you can only load like $10 minimums or whatever,
Yeah.
which is obviously not a lot. But I have like I think it's like $3 on there just floating because I can't get anything cheap enough to buy it. And I'm like, I don't want to
Mm.
load another $10 on here. So I was like, I'll just go into the Starbucks and order something. I probably waited in a line for like 15, 20 minutes just to get up there, because people are ordering all these random things, and Starbucks has some good things. Like I like the refreshers too. But I get up there and this girl's like, "Oh, hi, give me your name, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, can I get a large iced Americano?" And she's like, "A venti or whatever it's called." This is such a boomer thing, and I'm sorry. But they have different names for their drinks and I never remember them. And I'm just like, I don't know, like whatever your large is. And she's like, "All right." And so she like orders it and she's like, "Do you want anything in there?" And I was like, "No, I just want it black, like no, nothing added." The look that this girl gave me was like I just threw my
Yeah,
child.
she's not used to your kind in there.
No, she's not. She gave me the look of like I just backhanded my child out in public or something.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she just looked at me so weird and I was like, "All right, well, you don't got to be that disrespectful about it." Anyways, so I get my drink, I go out of there. And the amount of ice that's in this damn cup, sorry for my language. This cup is 95% ice.
Well,
And
she's probably looking at you like, why didn't you just make this at home? Why did you have to come waste my time as a barista? Because because they make serious.
because I can't make an espresso drink, right? Like an iced coffee and iced Americano are completely different flavors. And so when I order on the app, I already have my order like staged up, right? And I always get light ice. And I
Yeah.
forgot to tell her that. So I literally got a cup of ice and like 3 teaspoons of coffee in this thing. And
That's tough.
I was like, that is enough to make a man quit. So I'm out on Starbucks for right now.
Yeah, I think I can line pretty well up with you with that. Just like, but only like ordering in person. I am out on ordering in person as well. But I think that app is one of the best rewards programs out there right now. If we're talking about the rewards game, Starbucks is running the game right now for sure.
I have so
App,
many stars that I don't know how to use.
dude, you use them on a free drink, man.
How
Literally.
many do you need to get a free
200.
drink?
200.
200? I think I have like
25
4 or
stars if
5.
you want to take off like an add-on, like to make an add-on free. And then
Yeah.
400 stars if you're like myself. I'm a big I like to like keep a nice rotation of mugs in. So every time I get 400 stars, I'll get like a Starbucks mug, but they're not that good. They're not that good.
Mm.
I'm out in the
I,
Starbucks mug.
I probably have like 400, 450 stars, I think.
Yeah, you could get yourself a couple free drinks, man. It's only 200 stars.
I sound like the biggest boomer right now. This
Yeah,
is
you do.
wild.
You do. You do a little bit.
Sorry, guys.
But hey, that's okay. That's okay. But I hear you on that. Sometimes, dude, I think ordering coffee sometimes is like getting a bad haircut. Like
Oh yeah.
when you get it, you just like don't have the nerve to say you don't like it, and you're just like, thanks. And then you just kind of walk out and then like immediately throw it away. Or just like take 2 sips and then you're like, well, there goes $7.
Yeah.
Same thing as a haircut. You get a bad haircut and you just like don't have the heart to tell them like that they kind of messed you up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my take there. Brad, thanks for sharing. I love Starbucks. I'm a big Starbucks guy, but ordering in person is 100%
Yeah.
a terrible experience.
Yep.
So I feel you. We're going to get into our last segment here, closing up the show with a little reflection and projection here. Folks, last week, if you did not tune in, make sure to go back and watch the most recent episode titled It's Gonna Be Interesting. We on last episode we quizzed Trent on the 2013-2014 San Francisco 49ers, and that guy knew a lot more than I thought he did about them.
Was
Trent
that the
is
Kaepernick era?
It is the Kaepernick era. Trent
Right.
is a wizard with the names, so it was kind of cool to witness that. Got a lot of positive reviews about that segment, so we're gonna bring it back here. We're gonna try and keep it in Brad's wheelhouse. He didn't have a lot of time to prepare. He didn't have a lot of time to kind of do his thing. He was called off the bench today, but today
Can
we're
I tell a little
keeping.
story about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was literally laying down for a nap, and Ethan texts me, and he's like, "You live right now?" And I'm like, "What?" And then he calls me and he explains he needs help on this sports podcast, and I'm like, "Dude, sub me in." So
I
I mean,
knew,
I didn't even
I
get
knew you
time
were
to
in, bro.
I
I
didn't
was
even
like, if
get time to tie the sneakers, but I was like, "I'm in, coach. We got it."
Yeah, because in my mind, Trent told me like he was like, yeah, for sure, like still run the podcast, see if you can find somebody else. I like knew in my mind, I was like, if Brad is not working right now, he is 100% down for this podcast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here we are. So, folks, without further ado, we are going to test Brad's knowledge here, keeping the 10-year theme. Brad, we're going to see how many players you can name on the 2013-2014
God.
Chicago Bulls.
Oh gosh.
We are going to start. We're going to start with the head coach. And if you need like hints, I'm a big hint guy. Gave Trent a lot of hints last week too. We can start with the head coach, or we can go right into the roster.
So that was I don't really know why. I'm going to judge you right here. I don't know why you chose the 10-year theme, because that era was a brutal era for the Chicago Bulls. There's one player I can think of that I'm pretty sure, but I'm not entirely sure. So, I mean, that's post Thibodeau,
Not post Thibodeau.
It's not.
This is still Thibodeau era. That's why
surprising.
I wanted to start with the head coach. And I guess, Brad, let me give you a little backstory to this segment. We wanted to make it a segment that not necessarily was focusing on like the great teams, but like those middle of the road, maybe not so great teams that don't get a lot of love in sports history. Because like, don't you remember like sitting around with like, Elijah Cole Mason, just like rattling off like random sports players?
Yeah.
That's the idea of this segment, is we're kind of like
Okay.
showing a little love to those guys, some of the players that were on that team.
Okay.
So yeah, see if you can get the ball rolling. I can get the ball rolling for you if you want.
Let me guess a few.
Yeah.
I can think of a few off the top of my head, but there's like a hazy era in the Bulls.
Right.
The Bulls organization where it's like, we went from Derrick Rose to basically no one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to guess this is pre-Jimmy Butler trade.
This is pre-Jimmy Butler trade. He is on the team.
Okay. Jimmy Butler is on the team.
So also, a little heads up, this was a playoff team.
Really? Okay.
This was a playoff team. They lost in the first round to the Washington Wizards.
This is an era that I blocked out of my mind. This doesn't have Derrick Rose on it, right? Derrick
Rose is also on the team.
You're kidding.
I think he got injured this year, though.
Oh, why am I thinking that Derrick Rose was traded pre-teens?
Yeah, I think he got injured this year.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go Luol Deng.
Luol Deng is not on the team.
Really? Joakim Noah?
Joakim Noah is on the team.
Gosh.
I love this segment, bro. I love this
segment. Give me a hint.
All right.
So I'm gonna screaming at the screen right now.
Yeah, so this, I think this is two
Carlos
legendary.
Boozer.
Carlos Boozer is on the team. There you go.
Okay.
There's another one. I want to say these are two like storied Chicago Bulls players. Never really amounted to much, but they're definitely like known for their time on the Bulls, I would want to say. One of them is a guard. I think he wore goggles. And the other one is a power forward.
This is wrong, but I don't know why Tracy McGrady is in my head.
No, not Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
You want me to start giving some names out?
Oh my gosh. Taj Gibson.
Taj Gibson is one of he was the power forward. Yeah, nice.
The only reason I remembered that is because I just saw that Taj Gibson is still playing for the Knicks.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, Taj Gibson is also on that roster. Brad, we need one more out of you. We got Boozer, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler, and Taj Gibson. I want a 6-man, but I'm pretty sure. I think this guy was a 6-man for this team. I think he came off. Yep.
Gosh.
A Bulls legend. I don't know. I don't even know if he's a legend for the Bulls. Like, I don't know how you guys react to this guy, but
he is a legend, or he's thought
he ain't a Hall of Famer. He ain't a Hall of Famer. But I think he was like a legend for the Bulls specifically because of just his time on the Bulls.
Right. I feel like I'm going to get clapped by people for not knowing this. Because if he's like one of those types of players, people are going to be like, how do you not know? Blah, blah, blah. But I can't think of it.
All right. So I'm going to give you some notable guys that were also on this roster. You got 5. 5's not bad. Good for you. 5 is good.
Oh, wait, no. That's sorry.
So I'm going to give
you to be like, oh, name the 2017 Bulls. And my first thing I was thinking of was like, oh, Dwayne Wade played for the Bulls, like Denzel Valentine, Robin.
Yeah, it wasn't that light. It wasn't that light.
Yeah, all right.
The guy that I'm thinking of is Kirk Hinrich.
Oh, gosh.
Kirk Hinrich.
He is a legend of the Bulls. I wouldn't say he is an NBA legend, but...
Oh, yeah, he ain't an NBA legend, but I was saying I think he's like a legend in Chicago for just the time he was on the Bulls.
Yeah. Fair.
And then a couple other notable fellas on this team. DJ Augustine was, I think, the 6-man. Kirk Hinrich was actually the starting point guard during this year while D Rose was out. Tony Snell, rookie year, I believe, was on this team. And your team's, oh boy, is this your leading scorer? One of your leading scorers played in the most games for you that year. Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Yeah, that explains the Bulls in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about, we can sit here and say, what if Derrick Rose didn't get injured all day? And, what if Jimmy Butler didn't get traded all day? But,
right.
It's fine. Definitely an era where Bulls fans had high hopes, and the championship window closed, and the Miami Heat basically embarrassed us. Just for Dwayne Wade to come to the Bulls for 1 year, about 7 years later. I don't know. That was an interesting era for the Bulls when Dwayne Wade joined the Bulls because it's his city or whatever. But yeah,
Definitely.
I think that's definitely a Bulls era that everyone, had high hopes for. And I think even NBA fans like Ethan, what do you think of that era of Bulls? Like when Derrick Rose won the MVP and then, he's was it the Knicks when he rolled his ankle and
I
got
don't
injured?
remember, dude. Honestly, I do not remember that far
It's a
back,
long
but I
time
just
ago.
remember when he got hurt and it was like crazy because he was the youngest MVP.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, water under the bridge now. So
Water under the bridge. We moved on. It was just, I just look back on that era and I just think it was a funny era to look back on, like all those guys that were like getting buckets back then, like Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Kirk
yeah.
Heinrich. Like I remember playing on like 2K with those guys. Like those guys are just funny. But
I thought you were gonna go either dark era or like '90s Bulls. Like if you would have
nah.
went dark era,
I
where
wanted to keep it. I like to keep this segment in an era where we would have watched it, like where
yeah,
we had like possibly had a chance of like
hmm
seeing these guys play.
yeah. I
But
remember watching Derrick Rose in the playoffs with my grandpa, and he got injured, and I was like, I just didn't understand it at the time, even though I was like obviously sentient. But
yeah,
it's like one of those things where it's like Superman getting defeated by Lex Luthor, and you're like, what? No, that's not
yeah,
possible.
it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
This wasn't the way the prophecy foretold.
no, no. That's not the script we wanted to write.
Not the script. There you go. Brad, that's kind of rounds out our segments here. Is there any closing words from you that you want to send our fans off with before I close it up with our projection segment?
Um, I want to thank you guys for having me. I hope I didn't have too many egregious takes. I know my takes are egregious, but hopefully I didn't cross the line. Um, I hopefully will get the call up again soon, maybe Super Bowl era, maybe, preseason era. But I'm hoping that my predictions come true. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the call up again. So if you don't hear from me, I appreciate your ears for this hour 20, hour and 30 that we've been going, and hope you guys have a blessed day.
All right, Brad, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being a great guest and for participating to the best of your ability. This was an absolute blast to have you on. Folks, that's going to do it for the Double Tech podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I've never said those words in my life. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating. And hopefully you come back and you listen next week too, after the things that we say are going to happen after they happen. But folks, I will leave you with this. Trent had a quote from Jay-Z last week. I got a quote from Patrick Mahomes, and this is probably why I don't do this segment. This is probably why Trent does it.
Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes says, every experience, good or bad, you have to learn from. So, folks, I will leave you with that, some food for thought, and we will see you next week. This has been the Double Tech Podcast. Peace out.
Later, y'all.